the initial league, and his name is known to many. It's my pleasure to introduce him. Greenleaf, how are you doing this evening?
I am doing well, but wait, this is only a virtual broadcast booth? So you mean I got dressed up, put my tie on, and put pants on for nothing?
Well, not for nothing. You could stream your video through some other channel to somebody else.
Oh, okay. But anyway, how you doing tonight?
I'm all right. We've got a pretty good race lined up. We've got a league leader, Artea, in the top right corner, but he hasn't had a good score yet this stage, so the pressure's on him to try to get back to the top of the leaderboard by putting up a really good score tonight. One of the league commissioners, Maya, in the bottom left corner with the fancy green boxes. He's been up and down throughout the standings, but it's always a pleasure to see one of the commissioners get down and dirty with the rest of the runners and race tonight. And Tristel, perennial favorite, also a league leader in the bottom right corner.
Well, I can say by default, I know who I'm rooting for.
You're rooting for the RNG, aren't you?
Well, I'm always rooting for the RNG, but no, we have green boxes, so of course I'm going to go for the green boxes.
Oh, see, I'm like slow tonight. I didn't make my coffee, so I'm just running on water, and I'm not going to get the obvious jokes. You got to really spell it out for me.
Oh, this is going to be one of those nights.
And I'll try to spell it out for everybody else, too. If you're new to the Final Fantasy Randomizer League, this is our 6th stage out of 8. And it has a forced party of a fighter and 3 white mages. So you're not going to see a lot of offensive magic outside of the items that you pick up that cast the level 2 spells. So those will be in short supply and dearly sought after by tonight's runners.
Yeah, and of course, with this, as you can see up here in the upper left-hand corner, our goal is to defeat Chaos. And that basically, by any means necessary. You're going to defeat the 4th Fiend, you're going to go back in the Temple of Fiends Revisit, we're going to defeat Chaos, and hopefully we can guide you along the way. Now, immediately coming up, there's going to be potentially a roadblock pretty quickly into the run, and that, of course, is going to be the Pirates. Because there are 9 of them, and they could get shuffled to have a pretty awful ability. Like, frost, poison, things like that.
Yeah, the Pirates are notorious. If they have any kind of area of effect attack that hits your whole party, they can be brutal. And with a party like this, it's quite likely that the heroes won't have any AoE of their own. So they could be a real threat to be a roadblock tonight. Barring that, this is one of those really unkillable parties. If you get a lot of white magic, a lot of life, a lot of charges of Invis too, this party is like a Hydra. You can kill half of it and it'll come back right after the fight. So it's an extremely strong party from a dungeon diving perspective. And so they're really good at cleaning out chests and navigating the hardest dungeons. So getting past the Pirates will be the initial hurdle, and then I predict a very consistent seed after that. I've covered a few races so far already this stage, and we've had very close finishes. There was even a 0.0 tie, effectively, and 2 times did the second place runner put up a 0.01 score, finishing only 1% slower. So it should be a very exciting race with a very close finish.
And for all of those of you following at home, we're getting ready to go underway, but that was math, and this is Final Fantasy.
All right, first thing we're going to look at is the White Magic Shop. That's what you're going to spend your initial dollars on.
And that's a good setup. We're not going to have any damaging magic per se, when we are going to be able to take out Undead with Harm 2. But more importantly, we've got Life 2 and Cure 4 as level 1. That is absolutely fantastic with White Mages, because you're going to get the most charges there. And to have that much healing magic this early is an absolute boon to our runners.
That's about a top shelf selection of White Magic as you could hope for. The other spell they're not going to buy is FFR, and they're not going to buy it because it's not as good as those other 3, and they're not going to buy it because it doesn't work at all. So don't worry about FFR. In a future version of the randomizer, it is fixed though, and that's pretty exciting because it allows you to eliminate enemies' resistances, which means that you can even increase your chances of instant deathing any of the final bosses. So we'll see how that plays out in future versions of the randomizer.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those who don't know, Harm 2 is normally a level 3 white magic. It's going to deal between 80 and 160 non-elemental damage, specifically to undead foes only.
Looks like everyone on stream is headed up to the Temple of Fiends. They're going to take on Garland. They like their chances with their healing magic and their starting equipment.
Well, we've already found the Dan of this run. Halp over there on Maya's side, already dead.
Yeah, we should talk about that. So you're going to see generally at least one of these white mages in every party dead most of the game. And that's just so that the remaining experience gets distributed more aggressively between the rest of the party so they level up faster. It's just a technique that will allow you to beat the game slightly faster than if you had kept the whole party alive.
Yeah, that's also the same technique that you see in the speed run, the volatile speed run of the vanilla game. That party utilizes 2 fighters and 2 black mages and automatically kills the first black mage within the first 2 minutes and goes the rest of the game with 3 party members. But we do have some interesting notes here. Artea opting to not bother with Garland right now because there's no need to because of the early bridge option that's been checked. And he's just going to head on up to either Matoya's cave or Provoca to see what's going to be waiting for him.
Yeah, if you like your chances of killing Garland, after killing him, you get to warp back to Corneria for free, but Artea's not worried about that. He'll just take care of Garland later. One of the curiosities of that is that if you wait until the last minute to kill Garland, he warps you to Corneria, but if you actually cast the exit spell, which our runners may well have by then, you can actually exit right back to the entrance in front of the Temple of Fiends and not lose any time at all. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see him do that, an hour and a half from now.
Yeah, the other thing of note right now is that as we do have the pirates over on Artea's side is we did see the Opal Gauntlet down in the lower left-hand chest of Temple of Fiends. It's a nice item, especially if our runners do Temple of Fiends later to remember where that is. It is unfortunately only a fighter or knight equip, but it's going to be outclassed by other options that they will have on that slot. Mostly pro rings.
Yeah, the Opal Gauntlet has the same absorb as the Protect Ring, or the Pro Ring, but the Pro Ring also confers resistance to death, so it's probably not going to... The Opal Gauntlet's probably just vendor trash if you do manage to pick it up. You'll probably have Pro Rings by the time you can equip it.
Yeah, so far, it doesn't look like the Pirates have been shuffled to anything crazy, except, they're hitting harder, and there is Bella going down there on Artea's side. But we did have one of the white mages just punch one of the Pirates and manage to take it out with 4 damage, so they have, pretty low HP.
And if you're wondering why he passed over Life 2 to cast Cure 4 instead of raising his dead white mage, there's 2 reasons. The first one is the one we said earlier. He's probably just going to leave 1 or 2 of them dead. The second reason is that life spells in this game tragically do not work in battle. So if you lose a light warrior in battle, even if it's the final battle or the first one, you just have to watch them die the whole time and bring them back after the fight.
Yep, the other thing you'll notice over on Tristal's side, you'll notice he put his fighter down in the bottom slot. And that is because the way the targeting works here in the game is that the top slot is going to get targeted 50% of the time, the second slot 25% of the time, and then slots 3 and 4 are going to split that last 25% to a 12.5% chance of being targeted to each of them. So the character on the bottom of your party is technically the least likely to get targeted of all your light warriors.
Yeah, without any offensive magic, you can see how this battle against Garland that Tristal and Maya were both tackling has actually been rather treacherous, and by moving to the back, Tristal was able to cheat death on his fighter and get the job done, while Maya's being a little riskier here. He's actually gotten lucky, and Garland has just decided to attack his white mages anyways, but his fighter was tough enough to withstand the attack, so he's able to win as well.
Yeah, but now we're down to a one-on-one duel between the pirate and Artea over there, and the Pirates unfortunately lose, so we do have a ship. It does not look as if the Pirates are going to be the roadblock here. And the first thing I want to point out here, or one of the first things I want to point out, is you'll notice that you got multiple levels from the pirate fight. In the original game, if you got enough experience to get 2 levels, you would only get 1, and then the next experience point you would get would tick up, and you'd get another level the next fight. The randomizer allows you to get multiple levels per fight.
We got $26,000 gold bracelets in Provoca, which we may have to come back for later because Artea's only got $400. Nothing too special in the White Magic shop. Fog 2 is alright. It provides a boost to absorb for all of your party, making them tougher. The white magic buff of choice is usually Invis 2, which confers 40 evade to everybody, so they just dodge attacks completely. But if Invis 2 is, say, level 8, for example, and we don't see it, Fog 2 will have to suffice until we find the white shirt, which also casts Invis 2 for free.
Yeah, doesn't the white shirt... Yeah, the white shirt is Invis 2. Isn't it only a half Invis, though?
No, it's exactly the same as the white magic spell Invis 2, yeah. Yeah,
it might be thinking of remakes where they did it.
There is a regular Invis 1 spell, but it's not cast by any items.
Yeah. No, so we did see the bottle in Provoca. That item is shuffled, of course, from the caravan. So we'll need that to get the Oxiel to head down into the Sea Shrine to fight my personal favorite boss in the game. But we'll talk about the dapperness of the Kraken later.
And Tristal, after defeating Garland on his way to Provoca, pops by Matoya's cave, picks up the Ice Sword. Very high tier sword. It's eclipsed by the best weapons in the game, but he'll be really happy to find that now, and it'll carry you most of the way through the entire game.
Yeah, but do you notice the big issue down on Tristal's side right now?
He hasn't saved in a while, and he's got a stun-locked fighter because of these stun-lock imps. We've got full shuffling of the enemy encounters, I should point out, for tonight's race. The skills are shuffled, the spells are shuffled, their scripts are shuffled. As somebody likes to say, if you want imps with nuke, this is how you get imps with nuke. But tonight we don't have imps with nuke, we have imps with stun touch, which is pretty annoying too.
Yeah, no, the biggest disappointment here is that the palettes aren't swapped.
Yeah, I'm super disappointed about that too, Green Leaf. It just burns me up inside.
You gotta have fun. It's a randomizer. Swapping around colors doesn't do anything but make things fun or not so fun to look at. Why can't we have palette swap action?
We allow everyone to choose for themselves which fun percent flags they enable. There's a few, there's a palette swap, there's some enemies that can be renamed. There's an optional sort of modern Battlefield look that makes the Battlefield look closer to what it looks like in Final Fantasy 2 and 3 because people like that. But none of our on-screen rummers have set any of those flags. The only thing we're seeing is that Maya changed his background color to green, which is another fun feature, but not quite as crazy as Palette Shuffle.
We will have to educate these people later on the wonders of Palette Shuffle.
Yeah, if you watch a lot of players that are streaming Final Fantasy Randomizer will just turn on all the flags for the heck of it. I notice that Jair sometimes runs with all of those things enabled in his nightly stream, so you can see it in all its glory. But not tonight, unfortunately.
Why do you think I'm biased to it? And so the other fun thing about Final Fantasy 1 here is I guarantee if you've played this, you definitely see the similarities between this and a D&D campaign, specifically an AD&D campaign. That's where they got a lot of the fun stuff here. And like a typical D&D campaign, you get an item at the very beginning of this, the loot, which has no actual purpose till the very, very last session of the game. We need it to break the seal in the final dungeon.
Artea cashes in the Opal Gauntlet, buys a silver sword, which tells me that he hasn't been to visit Matoya yet. But he did get $8,000 for his Opal Gauntlet, which is pretty good. Not enough for one of those pricey bracelets that are all the rage in Provoca, so we'll have to see if anybody pops by there later to pick up some gold bracelets.
I would imagine we'll be seeing that after we go ahead and pick up an airship.
Now, the last question is, where is this TNT? So, I don't think anyone's been to Dwarves yet, so we don't know if it's there. But Artea looks like he's going to resign himself to heading to Marsh Cave, and he goes to Elfland on the way to check what's in their shops.
Yeah, see, I understand, the Marsh Cave gambit is definitely there because, you have many, many more chests, but why would you not go to Dwarf Cave? Yeah, I know it's a little out of the way, it's 2 chests, but it's 2 free chests, and if you get the TNT there, you don't necessarily have to go into Marsh Cave right off the bat.
Yeah, I'm usually an advocate of the lazy dwarf play. Cross your fingers. And even if it doesn't have the TNT, you might find something that'll actually make the Marsh Cave grind easier. Nice suit of armor, who knows what. So I'm surprised he didn't, but he obviously is taking a risk that it's not going to be worth it, and he's going to save some time by going straight to Marsh. That's his plan anyway, and we'll see if it works for him.
Yeah, so the only thing of note in the level 4 White Magic shop, we had Cure 3. You're definitely going to want to pick that up to help out because you don't want to use all of your Cure 4 and Life 2 charges. Speaking of charges, we've got Invis at level 3, not the best. Lamp, I love Lamp, but no one's going to want Lamp. And then we had, Exit. Exit and Life at level 3. Those we like.
That's a nice set of level 3 magic. I wouldn't be surprised to see him grind a level just to get a charge of exit before he tackles the Marsh Cave. Exit makes it a million times easier. You can get out of there as soon as you clear the top floor, then you can go down to the bottom floor and leave again without having to worry about getting killed on your way out.
Which is always the scariest part of Marsh Cave when you were running this as a kid. Because you wasted all your resources to kill the wizards, and then you have to walk back out.
And if you're watching this and you haven't seen it before, but you have played the original, you might notice a couple things are different, even though we didn't mention it yet. For example, there's a dashing feature. All of the little animations, the battle starting animation, the little animations that characters do when it's their turn, they step forwards, you input a command, they step back. Virtually every animation in this game has been slashed down to 25% of its original time when you open the menu and so on, just to speed it up a bit, because we've all seen them 1,000 times now. There's no need for those transitions to be as slow as they were in the original game, so they've all been sped up by the randomizer.
My favorite part about this is you're going at, almost like you hit the fast forward button on your emulator, so you're going like 200% speed, and the music is still the same, so your mind messes with your mind a little bit. I love it.
And if you had enough of the original music, because we've heard that 1,000 times too, one of the randomizer's features is actually to turn off the background music. You can keep your sound effects, but you can pop on your OC remix or your heavy metal or your techno or whatever the kids are into these days, and you can grind in tranquility.
Oh, come on, yeah. I mean, personally, I want to play the randomizer while listening to the Frozen soundtrack.
No words. I literally can't even.
Just let it go, Nitz. Just let it go.
It is all that I have in my willpower to not actually burst into song right now. I'm being completely honest. Okay, so
I have one other question for you then. Do you want to build a snowman?
I'm Canadian. I've built plenty this fall. Okay, so Artea looks
I live in Maine. I hear you.
All right. He, as we said, didn't go to the dwarf cave, but Maya did. He found $200. Something else I didn't even see it, but he reset right out of there. So Artea's gambit pays off. There's nothing in dwarf cave that he's going to miss until he gets there later.
And now I'm encouraging chat to put songs in there. They want to get you to sing, Nitz. And apparently so do I.
We'll see.
I've got about at least another hour and a half, so we'll make it happen.
Yeah, Frozen's a bad choice. If it was something I knew better, then maybe it can happen. All right, Artea reaches the gates of the Marsh Cave. He's going to burn off an encounter here and then probably save. And with a soft reset, how do I phrase this? There are two ways to reset this game. You can do a hard reset, which is the equivalent of turning your Nintendo off and on, or you can do a soft reset, which is just like pressing the reset button. And depending on which one of those you do when you load your save game, it changes what your next encounter looks like. So if you hard reset, it sets you back to the beginning of the encounter table like the first time you powered on the game and every time since. If you soft reset, it leaves you where you are. So depending on memorizing how many steps are before the next encounter, you can skip a bunch by soft resetting repeatedly until you get to a long stretch, or by hard resetting back to the beginning if you know that that's a favorable stretch.
Yeah, and that specific step routing is used in the speedrun route to actually, specifically it's utilized mostly to avoid difficult encounters, things such as the ice cave where you were going to route out things like sorcerers and cockatrices, stuff of that nature. So if you are interested more in how that step route and the encounter manipulation works, I would definitely go ahead and find a vanilla speedrun, and there is, you'll see it in action.
And the key thing with the vanilla speedrun is that the randomization in the vanilla game is known. So it's the numbers from 0 to 255 shuffled once and written into the ROM in a specific order. And because we know what that order is, if you're an expert, you can take the time to figure out exactly the steps you need to take to get in which encounters where and when. With the randomizer, that sequence of random numbers is shuffled, so that manipulation is no longer quite possible. Our runners have to do it live by observing the early game encounter table themselves, like literally witness what's happening to them and take note. Are the encounters early in the table? Are they later? Should I be hard resetting or soft resetting, and when? So one of the skills of getting really fast at this game is using that observational skill to determine whether or not you want to use hard resets or soft resets and how you can use them to scoot the world map faster.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like anything of note in the upper half of Marsh Cave. So now we're going to be heading down to the bottom half. And actually, we're already in the bottom half for Artea's side, so be committing to go into the deep dive. So far, so good.
Yes, and the Marsh Cave not as treacherous as Marsh Caves of the past, which on the surface bodes well for these runners. But I always say the randomizer isn't truly random, it's a shuffle. So if there's, so many death touch, well, there's one death touch, so many stun touch, poison touch, casts of annoying spells like damage, poison, and toxic, and the things that kill you, they have to be somewhere. So if you don't run into them here, you're just going to find them later.
Yeah, the benefits of finding them later, though, is you have much more equipment to not have to worry about succumbing to them. Here in the early games, that's what makes Marsh Cave so deadly, is there is so many different monsters you can get here, and so many different options that can just make your life an absolute pain in the butt.
And one of the things that's not yet shuffled in the 1.6.4 version that's being used in the League that's coming up as well is shuffling the surprise chance. So many of the monsters in the Marsh Cave are more likely to surprise you, and that's fixed. That behavior doesn't get shuffled between them and other formations. So if they also are more likely to cast things like Toxic and wipe your party and surprise you, that's brutal. So that's another reason why the Marsh Cave is so nasty.
Yeah, Shadows in particular have a 90% ambush rate. And also, we do have only 2 wizards for Artea, and we have a pro ring being found by Tristal, so that's definitely going to help.
And they were so soft that he's going to take another go at them. Just recreationally.
Recreational wizards.
Recreational wizards that appear to have death touch, so this might not be quite the recreation he wants.
I say, are we sure it's death touch, or they only had 28 HP, so were they just squishy?
Oh, perhaps. Right, those were his low-level white mages. It wasn't death touch, it was just death.
Yeah, I know. And this is why you don't let Dan play with anything.
This is rapidly turning against Artea here. If he doesn't get a hit from Artie.
Well, there we go. We got the hit from Artie, and we have my personal one of my favorite songs. We get some TNT.
Look at that. It's not the vanilla crown, but it is the vanilla location. You had to fight the wizards to get them, but the wizards weren't as bad as they've been in the past. They are unrunnable, though.
Pretty angry. Yeah, I've seen some pretty angry wizards.
Yeah, just a straightforward fight to the death against typical wizards. Not many more chests to check, and then he'll probably take advantage of his exit to get out of here.
Oh, wow. Bones just completely wrecking Artea. Lit 3, heat, cremate, sleep. My word.
Yeah, that's unexpected.
So yeah, the dangers of Marsh Cave, we just saw them.
I feel like I just had to bring in a little commentator curse to liven the party here.
Why are we trying to curse our runners? We want to be finished before midnight? But yeah, we do have to. The unfortunate thing about the bones here having all of those issues here in the Marsh Cave is the TNT. We know where it is. We know it's required because we need that to make the canal. So it's going to be a fun slog.
The good news is we did find the TNT instead of the crown. This game can be extra trolly and give you sort of a crown and force you to go through the vanilla progression of completing the crown quest with the ship to eventually get the Mystic Key or something like that, and then find the TNT key locked, which would be a huge waste of time, and we can be at least glad we didn't have to go through that.
Well, we still might have a key locked floater.
Oh yeah, we might have a key locked all kinds of things. Not to mention the key itself locks a door, pardon me, in Temple of Fiends. One of the fun sort of discoveries of the randomizer is that there is a locked door in the Temple of Fiends Revisited. You could discover that in the original game by inspecting it with the A button, but if you just walked right up to it, you would walk right through. And since you always have the key by the time you get to the Temple of Fiends Revisited, most of us never even knew until recently that there was a locked door in there.
Yeah, the same goes for the locked door that was in the Sunken Shrine, too. But I remember the initial testings of this when this was first coming out, and people first found it, like, wait, what? What happened?
So, we've got all of our on-screen runners in the bottom floor of Marsh Cave. Only moments from escaping with the TNT and everything, they then get leveled by a nasty pack of enemies and have to reset a couple times. So here we are again.
You know what's happening when they run into this enemy pack, don't you?
Looks like a little ambush.
No, they're getting boned.
Come on. That's the level we're operating on now.
Have you ever listened to Me Too commentary before?
Once, when I was sailing around the Arctic Circle.
So you're going to work, gotcha. But yeah, so the worst part here for Maya is fighter's dead in this fight. The good news here is he's got 3 white mages that can heal him. So that's as you mentioned, that's the one good thing about this party is it's nigh unkillable. Although the bones are making a really good show of it. And wait, we got vanilla poisoning scorpions. Fred.
It's just ugly. Alright, Artea gets out of there. Poison is just more of a nuisance than an actual hazard, but it does waste your time. It does make you have to go back and fix everybody up or deal with that insane screech.
Hey, that insane screech has been put to a good cause before. I remember the first RPG Limit Break they did. Jair was running this game at RPG Limit Break, and he kept a character poisoned and forced people to donate money for the charity they were raising money for to get the sound off the screen. It was brilliant.
That reminds me of to really take it off topic, the screech of in Bionic Commando Rearm 2 that PJ had you like jump on the elevator and he just screams incessantly. I feel like that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, the way this has been going, absolutely. These 4 wizards just completely eviscerating Artea. The Marsh Cave itself just taking absolutely 0 prisoners right now.
Seriously, that time it wasn't even the nasty caster pack. It was just wizards that decided to be tougher than usual.
Yeah, the other thing to note here is you mentioned the surprise and ambush rates. And that's something to note in the game here, specifically because enemies that can surprise you or that you can surprise them, those are good packs to know, because if you can get a preemptive strike on an enemy pack or they can surprise you, then that encounter is runnable, which means you can run away from it. If you cannot get that, then you can't run from the encounter. So it definitely helps to know what enemies are and are not, what enemy packs are and are not runnable, because there are some that can look pretty similar and may or may not be runnable. So it's a good thing to keep yourself familiar with a lot of the enemy encounters here, because being able to know which encounters you can and can't run from, wizards being the prime example here, you can't run from wizards, definitely good information to know.
Yeah, the original game made no bones about giving you no indication whatsoever about whether or not a fight was runnable or not. So it just says run, can't run, can't run, and then you wipe. But now we know them all, so you can go and find which ones are and which ones aren't. An upcoming patch will actually allow us to shuffle the unrunnability of enemy formations, which sounds cruel, but it comes with a complementary patch that changes run to wait when the fight is actually unrunnable. So there'll be a new upcoming flag as well, just to kind of mix up the drama of running into unrunnables. Now they can be anything. but at least you get to know. So that's an exciting feature I'm looking forward to releasing as well.
You sound way too excited about the Schadenfreude.
It's like just watching somebody scramble around in a blizzard while I'm sitting in front of a nice warm fire, which is exactly how this feels, actually. Except
yeah, it's the exact same feeling.
All right, let's hope we get these wizards done. As much as I love pain, I do like the progress too.
But you see, here's the fun: is we get a little bit of pain first, then we get a little bit of progress, we get a little more pain, a little more progress. We just put all of these. The one thing that these players do have to not worry about is long narrow hallways full of enemies. At least if you end up at this Cardia Islands, there's no enemies there.
Alrighty, trick question, Greenleaf. Who do you think is winning right now?
The Marsh Cave.
It's green, right?
It's not easy being green. And there is the exit charge from Artea escaping with his prize. That is the TNT. So we've got explosives, everybody. So Maya going to go ahead. He's going to take out the wizards as well. Going to get his prize. Tristal opting for discretion, being the better part of I've got my ass kicked for the past 20 minutes, and heads back to town.
Yeah, that's got to be disappointing. You can tell he tried several times. It's not like this was part of his plan. This was his reaction to it failed a bunch of times. I have to try something else now. I'd rather not, but you can't just keep trying. If it keep failing, it's not going to work. So he decides to bow. It looks like he's going to sell some gear, maybe grind a little bit and dive back in there.
Yep, went ahead and picked up some copper bracelets as well to increase the absorb on his white mages. Oh, big swing there from the ogre. Alrighty,
so now the game is about to open up for Artea and Maya as they're returning with the TNT. In a pretty close race at this stage. Once you get through the canal, though, all of a sudden you have options. It's not spelled out for you. You can head to the Earth Cave, you can head to Ordeals, you can head over to Crescent Lake, and then eventually the volcano, or if you really want to, you can go to the Ice Cave. And what our racers choose to do next is really going to determine, I think, at this point, who opens up the widest margin here.
I would be willing to bet both of our runners are going to head on over to Crescent Lake first because early canoe is turned on, and that's going to open up a lot. You don't have to go through and beat the Earth Cave. We don't have the Rod to do that. So I would imagine you're going to see early canoe happen first.
Sure, yeah. You can't go to Ordeals without the canoe anyways. I guess I was driving at after that. Do you head to Volcano? Do you head to Ordeals or Ice?
You had to, from what I know and from what I've seen, you head to Volcano first, simply because the amount of chests on that first treasure floor of Volcano is the largest concentration of chests you're going to get, and statistically speaking, the Volcano is going to be a lot less scary than Ordeals and Ice Cave are going to be. But hey, do you see what I see down in the bottom left or bottom right corner? I mean,
Tristal's going to bust out a little Peninsula Power Grind. There's a few tiles on this first continent that are actually part of the encounter table for the northern continent because the peninsula sticks up far enough north. And it lets you grind against some pretty advanced monsters and try to get some early levels. And Tristal thinks he needs those before he goes back to the Marsh Cave.
Yep, and everybody put your feet up and hold your nose because we're in Melmond.
Harsh! These people were ravaged by a vampire. But I bet it does stink, like...
No. These people were saved by the vampire. I mean, Melmond was bad before. The vampire was just, helping them out. What you don't know is that the vampire, was actually hired by the Melmond Tourist Board to get rid of all the squatters in Melmond. So he just went and caused a lot of damage. And the Melmond Tourist Board was hoping it would cause everybody to leave so they could rebuild Melmond better than it ever was. Unfortunately, the vampire didn't quite succeed. I mean, he succeeded in a way, but at the same time didn't succeed in getting everybody to move. So unfortunately that was money wasted, or the ruby was wasted by the Melmond Tourist Board. So when you go to fight the vampire, you're actually going to rescue the ruby that they paid him to wreck the town in the first place.
I thought you were going to say something about some cleverly mismanaged funds and some sneaky money, and Dr. Un helping his brother escape out of town off to Lafane or something like that with all the cash, leaving the citizens in the lurch. But your story's cool too.
But that's a common misconception and a common theory. That's actually what happens in the remix.
So the counterpoint to going to Volcano, because we're still not completely sure yet, is that with Harm, and we know we've got at least some Harm 2 to throw around, there's this fair amount of undead in Ordeals, so the Harm spells can be handy there. And you can see that you might consider it if you have enough charges of Harm and Confidence in your party, because Ordeals is fairly short, and if you can take on those zombie dragons at the end with your Harm, you can actually do a pretty decent grind there too. So it's possible.
Our white mages just became cannons because Fade level 5. We're not going to have a whole lot of uses per se, but we're going to have some uses. And speaking of undead, this Zombo encounter is exactly what Tristal wanted to see, because they are undead, and all of those Harm 2s he has, those delicious, delicious Harm 2s, are going to make some, well, not-so-delicious steaks.
Nothing like zombified bulls. Back on the menu, boys!
Yeah, and apparently they're also selling drugs because the fighter's getting stoned.
The award for the most original humor goes to someone else this evening.
Oh, I have no qualms about admitting that I have horrible humor. And yeah, it looks like Maya is going to play the Earth Cave Gambit here.
I've seen Horribler.
Is that even proper English?
I've seen properer. Alright, Tristal's gonna keep his Peninsula Power Grind going. He's happy with his Zombies and his Harm 2. Let's see how nasty these trolls are. If they're, trolly, you might have to bail out.
Well, we've got some sleep and some death.
And we got Maya doing a little Earth Cave dive. So with Exit, you can definitely scan the first floor real quick. We'll see how far he takes this.
Well, he's going to hope to avoid Cobras because they have Frost.
Yeah, he's going to hope to, but they're kind of common down here, so better keep his fingers tightly crossed.
Yes, but if he's crossing his fingers, how can he use his controller?
With his feet?
I mean, speedrun tricks have been discovered by people playing games with their feet.
Alright, he casts Exit because he really wanted that cash. Let's check with the other rooms. He says, just say no to Cobras, like right off the bat.
I mean, they're Frost Cobras. I don't blame him.
Another $1,000 in the right room, over to the left. We should point out, he's going to do a lot of running away. We were talking about how hardy this party is. It is not good at running. White mages have the worst luck, literally, and are pretty bad at escaping. So when you run, you know, it does depend on your agility and your luck to see if you get away. Thieves, good at just about nothing in this game except for running away, and we don't have any of them. So it's really up to the fighter or getting really lucky with the white mage.
Yeah, the other thing, though, is keeping in mind the thief is only good at running here in the randomizer because in the vanilla game, because this is the vanilla game, there are multiple glitches. One of them is that the thief's ability to run is, you know, kind of hamstrung.
And it's not just the thieves' ability. The actual run calculation in the vanilla game is completely broken. It just compares kind of random memory to essentially other random memory, and the top two characters have a reasonably good chance of running, and it gets worse down the line. And it has nothing to do with your stats, sadly. But we fixed it in the randomizer. I can't take any credit for it, but I will.
Yep, I think it actually compares the... I think slot 1 compares to slot 3, slot 2 compares to slot 4, slot 3 and 4 have nothing to compare to, which is why they have such a horrible, horrible chance to run.
Yeah, it's some random memory, and it doesn't compare the right stats. Like, it's not using agility and luck either, so it's really hopeless. Alright, so Maya's approaching the final treasure room on the second floor of Earth, I think, here. And this one has a trap tile where you fight Earths as soon as you walk in. And he's getting ready for that fight right now. But since he has exit, he won't have to fight him again on the way out unless he wants to go down to the third floor. But I doubt it. So if he defeats this Earth, you'll see him pick up some treasures and then cast exit to get out.
I mean, he might consider fighting this on the way back out anyway, because getting to the third floor means you have access to the vampire fight, to the ruby chest, and to the chests on the third floor. And the chances of cobras are a lot less as the deeper you get into the Earth Cave, so it might be something he'll consider.
Yeah, we're about to find out, depending on, his ability to defeat this Earth at all. But it looks like with the 3 casts of Fog 2 is absorbed high enough the Earth can't scratch him, so now it's really just a beatdown.
Yep, and for those who might be tuning in for the first time and never seen a randomizer or don't know what the heck we're talking about, Absorb is just your armor. So we do have some canoe enemies here. We have a Hydra sighting up on Artea's side. This Earth is actually being rather rugged. I can't call it beefy because it's no Earth, so rugged is what we're going to have to get.
Some sharp, jagged rocks, and he's just withering away his sword, bashing away at it.
Yep, so Tristal is only with the fighter. He's going to make it back to Provoca here, and he does. So he's going to have the fruits of his Peninsula of Power grind.
He's got levels, he's got copper bracelets. I'm not sure how much money he has. I doubt he has enough yet for... No, still not enough for a gold bracelet, which is too bad. That would have helped him out, but... He's definitely got a stronger party than when he came, and should hopefully now be able to conquer that Marsh Cave.
Yep, the only thing of note that Maya was able to pick up there in the Earth Cave was a light axe, and that means now all 4 of his characters have access to Harm too.
The light axe is a respectable weapon, but axes generally have low accuracy, so they're not super popular. And it's not as good as the ice sword anyway. So if you pick that up in Matoya's cave, then you can retire the light axe. Besides, of course, using it to cast Harm 2 for free, which is great.
I mean, hey, if you come across a big pile of undead like this one right here, you might as well.
Alright, Artea taking the conventional approach and heading to Volcano. He's been somewhat conservative, somewhat conventional. Perhaps going to skipping the dwarves, you might say, isn't very conventional, but it did allow him to gain a little bit of time in this race because we knew there was nothing there. Now, Volcano is a very safe play, and we'll see what he finds with the treasure trove floor.
Well, first things first, we're going to have to get by these peeds, and hey, low morale peeds. Of course, morale being a stat that determines whether or not an enemy is going to stay and fight or run away.
Every enemy in the game has morale, and the randomizer does shuffle it. So even though the Chaos final boss starts with max morale, it can be randomly reduced. And if your party is exceedingly high level, like maybe all the way up to 50, your party leader, it's possible for Chaos to run away, granting you a nice, easy victory. There's some clips of it on Twitch and out there that you can see in the wild, but I don't think that's how we're going to win today.
No, well, the task, the 4 white mage task does use fear to go ahead and scare Chaos away, and this trip to Volcano already paying dividends for Artea as we've got our first spell item, we've got the black shirt, and we've got the crown.
Black shirt is a beauty, and it's especially handy to find it in the Volcano because it can be used to cast Ice 2, and there's a lot of things susceptible to Ice 2 here, including the fires that are scattered all over this place.
Yep, and for those wondering, yeah, if we had black mages in the... Oh, we saw Death Touch. I think it was the Groger who had the Death Touch.
It was a cast of Rub, actually.
Oh, it was Rub? Okay, never mind.
You've got like a 5-second lead on me, so whenever you say you see something, I can look closely and catch it on my stream. It's perfect.
Excellent. So yeah, for those of you wondering, Ice 2 is a level 4 black magic and deal between 80 and 160 elemental damage to everybody. And one thing about these spells here is the second level spells and higher are all multi-target.
Yes, all the caster items, if you find them early before you have access to those spells normally, or in this case, they're your only access to them, can be super duper helpful. And you can hand them off to people like thieves and black belts. Magic attacks in this game don't factor in the caster's intelligence. In fact, nothing factors in intelligence for anything. So even if you give your dumbest box of rocks black belt that black shirt, when he uses it to cast Ice 2, it does just as much damage as a level 50 black wizard casting the same spell.
Yeah, see, I do definitely give it to my dumbest box of rocks, but this is why Dan has the shirt on with the tag facing out and in front.
That's more of like intimidation factor, The enemies aren't going to respect you if you show up like with like a mustard stain, and then, well, they're dead.
That's true, and Artea doing a fire grind here down in the volcano, because we've got some squishy fires.
Yeah, the black shirt probably put him up to this. It's the perfect tool for this job, so you can get some good experience here. Artea's all about the opportunistic grinds. When the levels are right, when you have the right gear at the right time, he doesn't go out at the start of this and say, oh, I'm going to grind fires. No, he sees the black shirt and immediately turns around and does it. And that's just his style.
Because the correct answer is always to grind Agamas.
It was last fall. But we're seeing less and less and less of that. There's just so many other enemies that you can force reliably, or in certain circumstances that give you more experience for time you invest grinding. But we haven't seen the Agamas yet, so maybe they're the ones tonight.
And speaking of time invested grinding, the time that Tristal invested in grinding does pay off, as we have got the TNT making very short work of the wizards.
He'll be relieved to get out of there with that. Now he knows he's probably trailing, because I think he would be surprised if other people were struggling as much as he was with that. We'll see if that channels him in a particular way, if he goes with the conservative volcano play, or if he tries to do something riskier to catch up, like say go to ordeals or ice to see if there's an item there he needs. We do know that the crown is in volcano though, so that makes volcano a very, very good play for Artea. Maya, though, off to ordeals. We'll see how this works out for him.
Yeah, it's all going to depend on what we end up picking up here in the Castle of Ordeals. Because one thing to note is there is some randomizer options to incentivize chests, which means the Eye and the Zombie Dragon chest in Ordeals will both have key items. Unfortunately, that is not checked in this set.
Exactly. So there is no guarantees that there's anything valuable in Ordeals. There might not be any boss to fight. I mean, there's no fiend there. So it could be a total bust, which makes it a risky play indeed. But if there's something good there, you can be assured that it's going to give you a boost.
The volcano play turning huge for Artea here is not just the crown in the volcano, but also in the upper left Grey Worm room, we've got ourselves the floater.
Booyah. The floater, key item that, of course, true to its name, causes a gigantic ship to rise out of the desert and work perfectly from then on. And that's what he's going to use to get the airship as soon as he gets out of here. But it looks like he's going to go check the rest of the chests at least, and if he feels real lucky, take on Carrie at the bottom.
There's a useless ruby there because with the airship you can bypass the Titan's tunnel. Good news for the Titan is, in that case, we will not be contributing to his crippling ruby addiction.
You don't know that. Artea might pop in and hand it off to him. Got to help a brother out.
Yes, but that just means we're enablers.
Maybe we are enablers. I mean, I've known that Titan for a long time. I can't just, when he comes to me and says, Nitz, I need a ruby, and I've got a ruby, which has literally no use to me. What, am I supposed to just not give it to him just because that's better for him?
Yes, absolutely. You're supposed to make it so that he's fine. Here you are, you're advocating the killing of fires and tyros and agamas, yet, you don't want to help your friend, your friend, the Titan, that you said he was your friend. You just want to, offer him up this addictive substance too.
We'll have an intervention later. I'll give him a ruby for now. Just wanting to get him through the weekend, man.
Anyway, we do have a heal helmet on Artea's side as well. As part of these two Agama chests, heal helmet, not necessarily as, nice in this seed as we have, all of the healing we could ever. Oh my God, volcano! Look at this. We've got crown, we've got floater, we've got ruby, we've got slab.
Wow. The good news for Artea is that he was definitely the first one here, and since he came directly here, he can be fairly sure that he's going to be leading the pack. The bad news is everyone's going to check volcano sooner rather than later, so you're not going to be way far ahead because everybody should make it here pretty soon.
Yes, and with that, the only thing we need left, and I'm assuming because this is not the NPC shuffle, that we're still going to get it from the robot, we only need the cube. So that means we're at 45 minutes, and you know what that means.
I know you're going to tell me what that means. Or are you talking about... We're in near go mode.
Exactly. We're in what I like to refer to as Schrodinger's go mode.
Yeah, we've gotten all the things that we had to find. Everything else we know where it is. That's go mode as far as I'm concerned.
Right, but I refer to it as Schrodinger's go mode here because do you really want to be in go mode with the rune sword?
Is that the best he's got? He never made it to Matoya?
Yeah, it's the best he's got is the rune sword. And
purple, though. Good looking sword.
I mean, it's not the worst in the world. But yeah, the Ordeals dive not turning up too many things for Maya, as we've all seen. It's all in the volcano.
And we often talk about if you're new to the league. If you're a close follower of the league, maybe this is not your first race. You've seen Artea on stream before. You're wondering, he's fighting Agamas? He's going to Volcano? These are things he generally doesn't do. We've come to expect him to do a quick earth grind and grind just about anything but Agamas. It's what I even said as much just a minute ago. So yeah, it's a different strat for him, and it looks like it's paying off. So he's proven to be a real chameleon, doing whatever it takes to get ahead. And once again, it looks like he's making the right moves.
Sometimes everything just comes up hats.
Looks like he's going to skip the red dragon chest.
I mean, he really doesn't need to at this point. All he needs is levels. So yeah, he's probably just going to do some level grinding, collect chests that are not too far out of the way, and just go from there.
The other thing he might do is, assuming he defeats Carrie, he might pop up and then grab it and take the warp out.
Hi, Carrie. How are you? We've got thunder.
Well, that's not ideal.
And stun touch, and she hits like a truck. But she's squishy.
Oh my goodness. That's not the carry fight anybody expected, but Artea will take it.
As long as there's one person with 1 HP, it's a successful fight.
That was just like a walk-in OK Corral shootout. In 2 turns, there were like 3 people killed, but Artea emerges with the fire orb lit.
Yeah, that's what happens when everybody in the D&D encounter gets a surprise round and everybody crits. Tristal also opting for the Ordeals play.
I think they were lured there by the harm charges. And
it definitely makes sense.
We don't know yet if it's going to pay off.
Yeah. And yeah. Do you see where Maya parked?
Yeah. He pulled the Ponce de Leon, dropped anchor at the mouth of the river, and is going to canoe up and search for the Fountain of Youth. Except instead of the Amazon rainforest or wherever he ended up, he's going to the ice cave. Not nearly as picturesque. I imagine he's going to have just about as much luck as the ancient Spanish explorer, though, because there is nothing but fool's gold in ice.
I mean, we could come across the Massimum.
He could find lots of gear. There could be the Mass Moon. There could be any number of pieces of armor, the Opal Bracelet, the Power Bond. There's lots of stuff we don't know where it is yet, but he's not going to find any of the plot items that he's hoping to find. And I think one of the things he would really be hoping to find is the floater, because that might give him the indication that he's leading or something like that. But he's not going to find that either.
Yep, but we're making our way back to Provoke It here. We're going to pick up some level 2 spells for our dead white mages over on Artea's side. And I'm not going to revive them just yet. No need to.
No, it's sort of like lucid dreaming, where people learn how to play the guitar in their sleep. This is like lucid magic studying, where white mages learn how to cure while they're ironically dead.
They're not dead, they're just taking naps.
In a morgue. Without a pulse.
How do you know? Are you taking their pulse?
Okay, they're just dead with a pulse.
But if they have a pulse, they can't be dead.
I'm being accused in chat of making smart references, but I don't know how that's even possible.
Oh, I didn't notice this when Maya was there. We do have one thing of use here in the Castle Ordeals, and that is going to be, well, two things. If you didn't already get it, you have an Ice Sword and the Zeus Gauntlet.
The other Ice Sword, yes, there's two. The Zeus Gauntlet is another one of those cast items we were describing earlier. It can be used to cast Lit 2, as much as you like. And Crystal may avail himself of that quite a bit, because it's the only black magic he's got so far.
Yeah, and Artea sees Astos, casts Fade, grabs Crystal, leaves.
I'm pretty sure he still thought that was the kindly old king. He didn't wait to hear what he said, he just kind of killed him and took the crystal. He didn't have time for chit-chat.
Ain't no time for idle chit-chat. We got a world to save.
He finally checks the Matoya chests, grabbing himself an Ice Sword.
Oh, we're going to get a chance to see what the mage chest is over here. And, well, this is one of my favorite chests in the game, originally because you fight through mages, which are extremely difficult, to get rewarded with cloth armor.
If you've ever seen this run with a party that has warp, you can dive in the hole between all the chests and use warp to warp back up a floor and then check all three of them while standing in the middle. But since this party only has exit, they're going to have to do this dungeon the way it was designed. Grab the chest on both sides, fall through the hole, walk all the way back, and then dive through the hole that leads to the eye chest, which in the vanilla game has the floater, but tonight is going to have something else.
Ew, doing things as designed.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, it burns us as randomizer players. We want exploits. We want sequence breaks.
I'm just here for the Dapper Octopus.
He was sort of ambiguously dapper in this game, but they really jazzed him up in some of the subsequent remakes. Artea wasting no time zooming around, checking all the Mystic Key chests.
Yep,
Not much in the Northwest Castle, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately not, but we're going to pick up all of these, and then, yeah, he's just basically going to go ahead and figure out the order he wants to do the rest of the dungeons in.
I know he's of a mind to maybe do the slab chest and head to the Sky Castle, because the experience is so good, and when you run into those vampires and stuff, he can use harm on them. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him leapfrog all the way to the Sky Castle, but I'm not going to say he's going to do that for sure. He's got all kinds of options, and I'm curious to see what he takes.
Well, let's see if we get a Temple of Fiends first.
Meanwhile, Maya's cleaning out the ice cave. he just picked up some garbage here. Taking the time to heal. I want to see if he's checked those other chests.
Oh, we get stun touch frost wolves.
And one of the things that Greenleaf was describing earlier, ooh, he finds the white shirt. He'll be happy to see that, and it's only equipable by a white wizard, so he can't actually equip it on his white mages, unfortunately. It would have been better than those silver bracelets, and it resists fire and time. But he's just going to have to use it to cast Invis, too.
But hey, having 4 people who can cast Invis too, gonna make the Chaos fight a little easier.
It's possible for the Chaos fight. He might not have room on his fighter for it. He might be loading down with other gear.
And Artea now doesn't need to look into any more chests because we found ourselves the most powerful sword in the game.
Being nice and thorough, even checking those annoying Temple of Fiends chests with all the trap tiles pays off big time. And finally, the Mother Lode here in Corneria. Not quite as many, I suppose, as dwarves, but... forget it, it's not the Mother Lode at all. It's just a good haul. A great haul. With a single GP, some more cash, some more cash, some more cash. The Sun Sword, which he doesn't need anymore. And a pro ring, which he could buy. So, nothing too spectacular there, considering he just found the massive one.
Looks like we're going to opt to go visit our friend Sarda the Sage first, so yeah, we're going to do some Earth Cave action.
And has he visited the Cardia Isles yet? See what the dragons are up to?
I don't believe we have.
The airship unlocks so many places early in this game when you find it. You can go to Sarda, you can get the rod, you can sneak behind the tunnel here, and we'll see if he kindly offers up this ruby. Maybe not. He's in a hurry.
Well,
if you think it's a
ribbon, that's nice.
That is nice. Really takes the pressure off. If you don't have wall for these white mages to give yourself a temporary ribbon, you really want to find one of those things. At least one before heading to the Temple of Fiends Revisited. There's just so much deadly AoE magic, and it will cut all of your elemental damage in half.
Yeah, and that's the one thing about the ribbon that the game kind of trolls you on is you have 4 party members, but there's only 3 ribbons.
Good news is, if you can get wall for your white mages or white wizards, and I don't know if we've seen it yet, casting wall provides the same effect as a ribbon for the duration of the battle. So that can work in a pinch, especially with a party like this that has so many white mages. But we haven't seen the spell yet, so it might not be able to work at all.
Nope, and Tristal realizing the same thing that Artea did, we've got squishy fires.
And we got some flame armor now, too, so all of a sudden our fighter's a lot tankier.
Yeah, we also have a disgusting large pack of wizards on Maya's side. Unfortunately, making the dive into Ice Cave here, not gonna necessarily turn out anything that Maya needs. Tristal going into Volcano at this point. He's definitely gonna love this because we're gonna get not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 different items that are progression items, 3 of which we actually need.
Good news from Maya was that he found the Zeus Gauntlet in Ordeals, which makes Ice Cave a lot easier because those unrunnable wizards are actually susceptible to lightning. They're not weak to it, but they don't resist it, so it'll do full damage, and we know they're not too tough.
Yeah, the thing is he has exit, so he doesn't have to walk all the way back out after getting this last treasure chest.
Exactly, and this eye can often be real squishy himself, and he is a huge experience boost. So if the eye doesn't have anything deadly, and if he can one-shot him, which it looks like he can, you might see him take the opportunity to grind a few levels, because this is a great place to do it. Especially with exit.
Looks like we're going to get that. The eye was guarding the cloth I was talking about earlier.
Oh man, that is heartbreak. But at least he's going to avail himself of this opportunity and grind up the eye. Because 806 experience for all 4 party members, that's a pretty good haul. And he looks really easy.
we do have a vampire going down. Again, super easy to Artea and his Masmian. And we're going to see what's in the ruby chest here, because why not? But first, we're going to have to deal with some Gurwolves and World Record Wolves, or some Roo. Shout out to MTI.
Artea, not feeling this wolf pack, dives deep and pulls out the big bazooka. We'll see if he can get off this fade before anything horrible happens to his white mage, but it looks like these wolves are pretty tame.
I did see that the one of them had Dazzle. It just missed.
Well, that's handy.
And there's the first of the treasures here in Volcano for Trystal. That is, of course, the crown. So we're going to continue on with the eye grind on Maya's side. We're going to do some more fire fighting over on Trystal's side. And Artea diving deeper and deeper into the corrupted realms of the Earth Cave.
It gets darker on the bottom couple of floors. And there's also a couple of pretty well-stocked treasure rooms down here. But Artea looks like he's already thinking, I've seen enough. It's time to turn on the speed and just get this done. That indicates to me that he sees himself now in go mode. And he's just going to have the pedal to the metal all the way to TOFR. It's possible that they're just a little bit too out of the way for him, and he may stop to check some chests that are more directly on his path. Some of the ones in the Sharknado room, which we'll mention when we get closer. And there's another room in Sky Fortress that's just a tiny bit out of the way, and so on. But he didn't check any of the chests on this floor, so it looks like he's rushing. Or not wasting any time, rather.
I'd say there's no reason not to. He's got the Masmian. What else does he need?
There's not much he could really be interested in now. Like, I mean, you could argue that maybe he wants to find the tail and some of the really good armor, and that would help. But is it necessary? He doesn't seem to think so.
All right, so now here's the question, as we've got, a rush down the Lich and some grinding happening. So the initial version of this game calls it the Temple of Fiends Revisited. But in the remakes, they call it the Chaos Shrine of Yore. Which name do you prefer?
You asking me or you asking chat? Because I'm taking anything that has the word "your" in it.
Yeah, I have to agree. Usually, I'm not a fan of what they try and do with the remakes. For example, the Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions remake is awful because they try to make them all speak Shakespearean. But Chaos Shrine of Yore is just a fantastic name.
That game is awful, not because they speak Shakespearean, but because the animations take 5 times longer than on a PlayStation 1 for no reason. That's why that game is terrible.
Well, no. There's an actual reason, and that reason is little money.
I was gonna make a little money joke, and then I forgot. So I'm glad we got back around to it. Man,
hey, anytime, my friend, anytime.
Artea keeps stumbling into these fiends with nasty skills, but Lich got a few tricks in the bag. The slow doesn't hit on the fighter, though, and that's good news. And also nice and squishy. Lich, standard vanilla Lich has 400 health, so even a nasty shuffled Lich would only have 800 and change, so not much to worry about there, and Artea takes him down, no problem.
But here's the question. What's a vanilla Lich taste like?
Well, I mean, you lose a lot of vanilla after, the ancient aging that an immortal like a Lich goes through. So you're left with, sort of a really nice oaky flavor. But to get more specific, it's just too hoity-toity even for me.
And did you just use the term hoity-toity?
Fact. Can't deny that. It's been recorded.
We have audio on that one.
Some upper crust, stiff upper lip,
Upper crust? You have 2 pizzas and you're not sharing?
I just take one, flip it upside down on the other, and now you have a giant Panzerotti.
Wow, what a jerk!
Then you could roll it up into a burrito. Pizza? Now that's what I call a taco.
What the actual?
Did I lose you? That's a reference to a Mad TV skit about a place called Taco Town.
I know.
Okay, good.
I know
good.
what it's a reference to. I just wasn't expecting to go to Mad TV land.
Well, I've killed Greenleaf, but if you can't come back, I'll be able to steer this ship on my own.
No, you won't, because it's biometrically locked. It only responds to my puns.
All right. Ich bin Maya has been enough of the ice cave and gets out of there. He's not too happy with his cloth, but he did some serious grinding, so at least he's got a leveled up party. Tristel continues to beat up on Agamas. The poor Agamas. What did they do to deserve being the subject of so much grinding?
Well,
He's now heading to the
we could break out some Agama facts, but I'm kind of sworn to secrecy on those.
I'm being called out that it was an SNL skit instead of Mad TV, but in my defense, this was a long-ass time ago.
It was still a variety comedy show, so...
I'm just glad that I live in an era where no matter what mistake I make, no matter how insignificant, I've got chat right there to point it out for me. I appreciate that.
You know, you're not wrong. There's a reason I only half pay attention to chat.
What's the other half?
That sometimes I click on the screen and it gets buried behind those other things I'm looking at and I forget to pull it back up.
Oh no, I was saying, why would you?
Because contrary to popular belief, I actually like a couple people in the chat.
Well, don't say who. You don't want to play favorites.
I mean,
all right, Artea's got his... We should talk about the race a little bit. Just a little bit in between jokes here. He's got his Oxyale, and he's going to head to the Sea Shrine now. We'll see if he pops into the waterfall before or after. He's got to do both. He doesn't necessarily need to do the waterfall first. Some people like to for the chests. Artea looks like he's heading to Onrak first.
Yeah, absolutely. So this little lady right here in front of the submarine, the scene where she disappears in the remakes is kind of creepy.
The submarine engineer was like, "Oh, you got Oxyale?" Vanishes without a trace. We have no idea. Does she throw herself off the dock? Nobody knows.
Yeah, not a clue. The only other thing about the remake that I thoroughly enjoy, and since we're in the Sea Shrine now, we can talk about it as Tristel is down dealing with, oh my god, what the heck happened to Carrie? I love Kraken in the original game, but the Kraken sprite in the remakes is fantastic.
Fog 2 is available. Tristel taking some time to cast it. Had to look for it, had to think about it. He also busted out, I think, an A-rub. None of it matters because Carrie was soft as paper. Deadly with the thunder, but killed before she even got it off. So Tristel gets his fire orb a lot easier than he was doing in the Marsh Cave. So a little bit of relief there for him.
Yeah, absolutely. If you haven't seen the redone Kraken sprite for the remakes, you have to. It is supremely dapper.
Yeah, he's got a good look going on. There's no doubt about that. You think you would almost rather just, like, start tapping and busting out a little bit of smooth jazz or something in some underground seedy nightclub than actually fight to the death over the water crystal, but it happens.
Hey, Kraken owns the seedy underwater nightclub.
Yeah. He is the seedy underwater nightclub. Alright. Artea actually didn't go the mermaid's way, so it looks like he might not even bother at all with mermaids. I mean, it stands to reason. If you skip in chests one place, you might as well skip chests in another. The mermaids do have a ton that are pretty easy to get to without too many fights, though, so...
And the entirety of the mermaid floor has 0 encounters.
Yeah, Nice and luxurious. You can take your time and loot their dozen chests.
Phrasing?
Are we still doing phrasing?
You were just talking about looting the dozen chests of mermaids.
I was making another Archer reference on top of yours. Are we still doing phrasing? Come on. Keep up.
Never seen Archer.
Oh, I thought that's where phrasing got popular. Interesting.
Maybe. I just, I've done enough commentary with a bunch of people that, when dealing with any game with treasure chests or, most clips in general, that you have one or two people who unintentionally phrase things the incorrect way, and by the time they realize it, everyone's just a laughing, gibbering mess.
Fortunately, that didn't happen this time. Everybody watching this stream is extremely mature.
No, we're not. Remember, I led off this stream complaining about wearing pants.
Why are you complaining? Why are you even wearing pants?
Because I thought we were actually in a real booth, and I put pants on my dress shirt to be professional.
Well, that's a rookie mistake.
We gotta have fun every now and then.
Alright, well, blink and you miss it. Artea is now on the basement floor of the Sea Shrine. There's nothing here except a nice long walk and a Kraken at the end, so we'll pick up with him when he gets there. Tristal is taking care of his crown quest. Now that he's emerged from the volcano with all the splendor that it had to offer, he's got to take the crown to the kindly old king and receive the crystal in exchange peacefully. Then return that to Matoya, get the herb, which is completely medicinal, and provide that to the prince's, the dude that's hanging out with the prince for some reason, who smokes it for the prince. Then the prince wakes up, gets the Mystic Key, cleans up the Mystic Key chest. And we know there's some real good loot for him to find there, too, so catch up with him closer when he gets done. And Maya is in the Trove, which is full of good stuff.
Yeah, seeing the crown there, Maya has to know how behind you is. And oh my, Maya just opted to exit with the crown and not continue down the volcano. Oh, nope, he's just saving. Never mind.
Oh, phew. That would have been a real tragedy because, the floater is 5 chests away. And Artea encounters the ever so dapper picture of elegance, the Kraken.
I mean, absolutely. I may or may not have a dapper Kraken emote, just saying.
And once again, his fighter dodges the darkness. Not that it does a whole lot anyway.
I fire magic missile at the darkness.
And the Kraken goes down. It looks like it's origami night with the fiends. They all seem to be made out of paper. The only one remaining...
Yeah, it's Tiamat, and she tends to be a bit of a pain.
Can be. Default 1,000 health, too, so sometimes a challenge just in terms of raw toughness. But everything seems to be going well for Artea as he lights his water orb. He's already completed the quest to receive the chime, so he can head straight to the Mirage Tower now. Oh, pardon me.
Nope.
He has to pop in. No, he does need that cube. I usually go get it first, and I forgot to even mention that he has to do that now because he didn't do it first.
I also love the thought process behind let's have the NPC that gives you the cube waiting in the waterfall, which is fine. Except it's a robot. How is it not rusted out already?
Yeah, but it's like a futuristic spacefaring robot, isn't it? Or built by an ancient civilization. One way or the other, I'm sure they would have solved that problem. You could just make them out of solid gold or something like that, too. Won't corrode, won't rust.
Yeah, but think about how valuable he is.
Future spacefaring robotic nations have no want for physical goods. Money is no object to them.
No, but robots are still objects to them.
That's fair.
None of us here at the Final Fantasy I Randomizer League nor Speed Gaming and its affiliates directly endorse the robotic slave trade.
My opinions are my own. Thank you very much.
The opinions expressed during this broadcast are solely those of the people expressing them and have nothing to do with the rest of the corporations involved.
I should probably disclose that I have 1,000 shares of Robo Slave Co.
And I should probably disclose that it's not open market trading.
Alright, there's Maya's slab. At this point, he must be going, geez, did I ever go to the volcano last when I should have come here first? The Greenleaf has converted me from someone who stays on task and talks about nothing but game mechanics to a slubbering mess.
And you'll thank me for it. As I said in chat, welcome to TGE Commentary, where everything's made up and the jokes don't matter.
Artea decides to take a little break, give everyone else a chance to catch up. I'm not sure if that's pure cockiness or if he had to go to the bathroom, but he could just be lighting up a quick cigarette. That's pure cockiness right there, and I hope it comes back to bite him in the ass.
Yeah, Tristel opting to skip the Temple of Fiends chest right now. We might see them at the very end, but who knows?
Yeah, if you found the Sun Sword in Corneria because you went there first, you might think to yourself, well, that's a pretty good sword. I don't have to worry about finding a sword anymore. Even though it's, a third best at best, and a distant third. So that's really unlucky for him that he didn't do that. Or unfortunate, rather. I guess luck had nothing to do with it.
What's luck got to do
with it?
There we go. I knew I'd get you singing.
That's a good one.
It only took me an hour and 20 minutes.
The only open question as far as gear, there's a couple of missing ribbons. No one has any of the best armor, but nobody cares about the best armor. What people do care about is the power gauntlet, and that is still missing. Oh, you just wait. My family goes to see like a musical as a family every summer. We're nuts. I play the piano at an 8th grade level, I promise you. Real musical guy. I just definitely...
Oh, wait, so what you're saying is had I gone to the Les Mis well, we would have been lost in song all night.
God. And chat is glad you didn't.
Once I broke out Frozen and you said I didn't sing because I don't know it, I was sitting there like, do I go Les Mis?
If you went like Men of La Mancha or like West Side Story, but no.
So wait, West Side Story. So what you're saying is you feel pretty?
I like you, Greenleaf. For everyone else, I just met this son of a gun tonight, so this is what happens.
Yeah. Well, I Feel Pretty is, the most well-known song from West Side Story, except, when you're a jet, you're a jet.
Someone's got a classical education.
Somebody just spends way too much time on the internet.
The hell has the West Side Story got to do with the internet?
Where do you think I watched production of it?
Alright. Alright. Artea finishes up his paperwork. He's headed to the Mirage Tower. Not much left for him. He's going to scoot straight to the top, near as I reckon. And when he's done there, he's going to go straight to TOFR. I don't think he gives a whit about the power bonk. So at this point, it's just pure RNG until he's done.
Tristel, however, does give a honk about what the dragons are hiding, so let's see what we're going to get from looting Bahamut and the other light axes here. Am I the only one who finds the snorting Rankelos hilariously adorable?
I just think that snorting is such a weird name for a skill. Like, all the other ones are like, in present tense. It's not snort, though. It's snorting. Like, they're just sitting around going... Not the present progressive or whatever that tense is. What am I, a linguist?
Perhaps.
We got a flame shield. We got some cash.
And to answer the question posed in chat by Sizon, that's Mr. Mistopheles from Cats. I mean, if we're going with one-word musicals, I mean, Rent is there too, right?
How about 5-word musicals and we do the Man of La Mancha?
I'm not going to stop you if you want to sing Man of La Mancha.
That's like my favorite musical. How did I end up revealing that tonight? That's a question I want everyone to go home and think about and submit your answers before the next race.
Oh, that answer is simple. Hashtag blame TGE.
If only we were here to talk about something instead of just being wildly off track.
Well, what we're here to talk about is Maya using the rod to go deeper into the Earth Cave, as Artea skipping most of the treasures here in the Mirage Tower, heading straight up to the Sky Fortress. And speaking of snorting, we've got a couple of nightmares down on Tristal's side.
Up to the Sky Fortress. The Sky Fortress, if you're not checking chests, is pretty fast. But it's kind of spread out. It's all star-shaped and has rooms with 1 item or 2 in. The final floor that has chests is actually pretty packed with them. So if he gets tempted to look anywhere, he's probably going to check those chests right before the final stairs there, or possibly rummage around that entire floor because there are like another 10 that aren't too far away. Or he could just skip them all. So that remains to be seen.
Considering he skipped the 10 chests there in the second floor of Mirage Tower, I'd venture to bet we're in go mode.
There's go mode, and then there's, like, go mode. And I think he's just in the first one.
And since we're continuing, do you want to take this one from Sizon in chat, or do you want me to? They both reached for the gun. Name that musical.
That's all you. Don't know it.
And technically it's We Both Reached for the Gun, and it's Chicago.
Apparently it's Culture Night at the Final Fantasy Randomizer League, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. Welcome to Video Game Randomizers here on Speed Gaming 4, where you're going to watch Artea use Fade to kill a bunch of manticores, and you're going to get a musical education at the same time. Ooh, we have crack manticore, so that's not good. That's going to be some Earth-based instant death. So Bella and Kath dying, Artie and Dana still sticking around.
Ooh, this Hydra's down to 1 head as far as being able to cast life on the party goes, so... Talk about being the life of the party. That's terrible. I'll stop.
Yeah, please don't stop. That was good. And Artea, proving us wrong, is going to go ahead and get some chests and is rewarded with the adamant.
No one knows why he picked that room.
Not a clue.
Just pure inspiration. He had to do something outrageous so that he could make a mistake. Because so far he's been on fire this run. He's really pulled ahead of Maya and Tristal tonight. Tristal with a spot of bad luck runs into some unrunnable Sahags and Arsahags. Whiz Sahags.
Yep, gonna go ahead and check that. Looks like we're heading up here in the next level of the Sky Fortress. So, we got to come up with some fancy, funny names for these things.
Funny names, silly names, like Jimmy Jean, Daffy Dean, his brother, Goofy.
Billie Jean is not my lover.
We got who's on first, what's on second.
I don't know who's on third. Today's catching tomorrow. Today's pitching, tomorrow's catching.
That's what I'm trying to find out.
Oh, there's another ribbon for Artea, so that's huge to find.
Perfect timing. So he was only in small G go mode, not capital G go mode. And he picks the right chest to selectively check and finds a second ribbon.
Like I said, Schrodinger's go mode.
And now he's got a Life 2 caster with a ribbon on it, which makes his party that much more indestructible.
So what you're saying is he liked it, so he put a ribbon on it?
Yeah, well, he's already got a pro ring on it, and that's the joke I usually make.
Yes, but you didn't when we mainly met there, so I knew I could make it later.
Alright. But it's not quite the same. Tied up with a black velvet band. Gotta get into my folk music.
Wow.
Well, he one-shots that whiz vampire, who obviously had no taste for folk music.
Or maybe he has plenty of taste in folk music and just no taste in Nit singing.
Now, that can't possibly be true. That's like, false by definition. Alright, we're on the war mech floor, people. Let's get some hype!
Let's only get some hype if we actually see the warm mech, but we do have Heal 3 and Trance Slimes, and, given the right, wind gust and earth shaking, watching a slime wiggle and jiggle like jello can be very entrancing.
Pesky slimes with trance. It's no fun for anybody. I'm waiting for the fade here, like, how much of this can you tolerate? Now, Maya's about to check the Corneria chest. We know he's going to find the legendary Sun Sword, most famous for being not quite as good as Excalibur or Masamune. And we'll see if that dissuades him from going to Temple of Fiends to pick up the Masamune, or if he can get there and get the best sword in the game.
Yep, and here is Tiamat, well known in the vanilla game for being weak to poison, which means there is a 1 in 7 chance when you cast the Bane spell or use the Bane sword that you can instant death her.
Tragically, we have neither of those things, so we're just going to have to beat her down the old-fashioned way.
Just whack her over the head with a sword?
Yeah, and fade. Lots of fade.
We can do lots of fade.
I'm fading away.
Plot an open course. Yeah, you went 6 there on me.
For the Temple of Fiends.
I've got to kill chaos.
It's beautiful. Really spectacular. Glad we could share this moment.
Yep, we're going to get our chime over on Maya's side, and we are seeing the dapperest of octopi, or Kraken, down on Tristal's side, but we've got all 4 orbs lit on Artea's side, so that means we are heading to Temple of Fiends Revisit. There is a potential that we get a check of the Mystic Key chest, but more than likely we're just going to dip our toe right into the water and see what happens. Oh, no, it's not Artea who needs to do that. It's Tristal. I'm getting my people confused now. My bad.
Tristal finishes saying no to Kraken, and next up for him could be a few choices. He still has air to do, as well as the Earth Cave. Artea with a sizable lead now, heading into the Temple of Fiends Revisited.
So yeah, at this point, it's just a matter of does Temple of Fiends Revisited do what Temple of Fiends Revisited does, or is Artea just going to moonwalk his way into a victory?
Remember, don't do what Johnny Don't does. And in this case, just kind of cross your fingers that none of the last few fiends have a nice assortment of nuke and nuclear. Or, if you want it to be a close race, cross your fingers that they do, and that Artea runs into all kinds of trouble. I'll let you decide which way you want to lean.
Well, what I want to do is just sort of put my feet up, relax, and watch chaos go down in a blaze of glory.
Wait. Chaos is the one that goes down in the blaze of glory?
Can you think of another reference for a song?
Well, how about something Dark Side?
That's not a song.
How about, okay, that's fair. Something Danger Zone?
Highway to the Danger Zone works.
Got my first real fate charge.
Oh look, more trance slimes.
They're gonna slow Artea down, but they're gonna have to slow him down an awful lot to make much real difference here. Already with the hero run. That's really too bad. I was kind of hoping for just like an absolutely agonizing stun lock sequence, but we're not going to get it tonight. This pack of chimeras and Jimmeras too much EXP to pass up, so Artea's going to take this one down.
Oh, and it's nice to get to see Cousin Jim there.
Jim Ura.
Also, I need to point something out. You guys may have heard a knock on my door here a second ago. And I just want to go to prove to you that I am firmly on Team Tyro. They are delicious. Because a friend of mine, there was apparently a banquet at the hotel bar I work at, comes in, hands me a box, and says, "Here you go, victuals from the banquet." I open it up, and it is a delicious box of steak.
Look at that. Banquet steak. Served directly to your door.
Mm-hmm. Can't go wrong.
You're eating it right now, aren't you?
No.
I just have this picture of like a young professional dressed up for the stream, streaming to no one, chowing down on a steak.
Oh, you've got part of that correct, but the young and professional, no.
But you said you were dressed up just a little while ago.
Doesn't mean I'm professional, and definitely doesn't mean I'm young. Yes, I'm slightly younger than you, but I'm not. I still have a 3 in front of my age.
Oh, great. I'm not young, I'm just younger than you. Now I feel fantastic.
Yep.
I didn't realize it was a contest. I'm watching my skin wither before my eyes. I turn around. Did I choose poorly?
No, you're seeing your reflection in that lich that Tristal just beat.
Alright, we got a nice giant pack of unrunnable Earths that Artea's going to have to work through, but with the Mass Moon Sword, it's just going to be one at a time. Melee Wizard's got the cross-dressing red mage, or is that a cross-dressing black mage? It's hard to say. I guess, based on the face, I'm going to have to say it's a black mage in a white mage robe.
It's just a white mage wearing a hat.
See, the way I like to think about it, that 3 is just in the decimal representation. When I use hexadecimal, I'm still in my 20s.
Okay. But if you've gotten to the point where you have to do your age in hexadecimal, I think we have other things to worry about.
Well, I fell off the deep end when I started working on FF Randomizer, and then real talk for a second, it's been so much fun that I take it one day at a time, but love it. Love the community. If this is your first taste of it and you're enjoying this commentary, first of all, God bless you, because you're being very generous to us. But check out the Discord. I'm sure there'll be a link to it popping up in Twitch any second. It's like you speak it, and there it is. The community is very friendly, especially getting new people started and learning the ropes. The FF Randomizer application that takes the FF1 vanilla ROM and shuffles it introduces so many conveniences that really have revolutionized this game and brought it into the 21st century from playability. Things like running, buying 10 items at a time, fixing the bugs that were so frustrating the first time around, and you can have a lot of fun with it. Whether or not you're racing it at a high level or just playing casually, it's a lot of fun. So give it a shot.
And remember, Tyros are delicious. Especially
Okay,
when
now
rare and served with a nice Chianti.
is that Psycho?
Silence of the Lambs?
I'm mixing them up with shoot. And I was gonna go right to Con Air. I drove through 3 states wearing her head as a hat.
We got the whole world in our hands, my friend.
Oh yeah. The other thing you'll find if you join this community and happen to be an old fogey like the rest of us is that you will have all kinds of 20-year-old references in common with all these other people who will get the most obscure jokes. And if you're younger than us, well, not much I can do for you. You should catch up on all your 90s pop culture.
Absolutely. So we do have some Chimera sightings over on Tristle's side as we're making our way, continuing through the air dungeon. And Mercy down there is using Fade. Please tell me that's not an Overwatch reference, Maya. Please.
And first 64 with the Monty Python reference. I said 90s, not 70s, but we'll allow those as well.
Monty Python is completely acceptable.
Absolutely.
I spit in your general direction.
But we only allow 1, 2, 5 references at a time.
And since there's only 2 of us talking, we're going to be good. Okay, and this is for something I have to interject here and take a look at Artea's screen for a second, okay? Did you see the fact that there were lobsters on his screen?
Yes, sir.
I live in Maine. I can confirm that uncooked lobster does not look that blue. That is a horrible representation of a lobster.
That might just be lighting.
I mean, blue lobsters do exist. I've seen them, but they're rare. They're like albino animals. They're very rare. And, you know, just a lobster doesn't need to look blue.
What color are the odd eyes in Maine?
Well, it depends on whether you're in northern Maine or southern Maine.
Wilford Brimley, and I'm here to talk about diabetes.
I was actually going to making a reference to Shellos and Pokemon that depending on which side of the river you were on, it was a different color.
Maya's taken on Kraken. It's moved his fighter to the back of the party because we talked about it. He doesn't want him to get one-shotted before he can get off some Fog 2s or Invis 2s. We know that that's not too much of a concern, and it's been, like I said, Origami Night, and he takes on the Kraken in just a handful of shots. So he's catching up now. Just got the Sky Castle to go.
I'm being asked if the Lobsters in Maine casts Thunder, and every now and then you might see a nice Storm on the Sea, but normally the Lobsters tend to cast Swirl.
They can be randomized, though, and sometimes they will summon an entire Nor'easter, so you gotta watch out.
I mean, Nor'easters aren't bad. I mean, we only got buried under 2 feet of snow this last one.
Yeah, nobody wants the main randomizer because, like,
It's
main's already. Yeah. Oh, look at his cash.
Yeah, nice.
1-1-1-1-1-1-40.
Yeah, Crystal did find the Riven down in or up in the Sky Fortress. That's nice. And we have Kraken too, so all of the delicious dapperness. But again, paper mache.
And that is fortunate. Kraken 2 is just at the point where things can start to get ugly. Sometimes dealing out tons of hits, one-shotting even well-armored characters. So for Artea to get past him, no problem. Good news. On to Tiamat 2.
Yeah, but Maine randomized is basically there are 4 seasons in Maine. There is almost winter, winter, still winter, and construction.
We have the same seasons in Ontario, actually. It must just be a generally cold climate sort of thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Although they never actually finish the roads here, so it shouldn't really be called construction. It should just be called, like, delays.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing here.
I guess the border states, right? Similar culture.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, you know, snow is snow, right?
Alright. Maya cleans out Cardia. And he's now headed to the Sky Fortress. Sky Castle. He's one trip through it behind Crystal, who is almost finished. You're approaching Tiamat 1 around the time that Artea finishes off Tiamat 2 here.
Yeah, Tiamat 2 is being a bit of a pain here, but looks like she rolled lots and lots of HP.
The best thing that could happen for this race right now is if Tiamat 2 uncorks something crazy and somehow wipes Artea and makes it a real close race. But that's looking less and less likely as the fight goes on.
And there down goes Tiamat 2, and we have just simply got one thing left, and that is the Chaos fight. Here's the thing to keep in mind, that we have not seen Nuke or Nuclear yet, nor have we seen any of Chaos's skills like Inferno, Swirl, Tsunami, so definitely pays to take a look at that and what the scripting on Chaos is going to be.
And we have seen the earlier Fiends cast some of the weaker magic. So all the more reason to suspect that Chaos will have the best stuff. And that could be in for quite a final battle here. Artea's been cruising really through this, and might hit the wall, might scrape by, might get crushed, or might cruise all the way to the victory. So stay tuned. Chaos on the final floor.
Alrighty, and here we go. The one good thing about the final floor of Temple of Fiends Revisited is that there are no encounters on it because all of those are considered safe squares. So we are now on the final floor, and now it is time to fight Chaos and see what happens.
Yeah, enemy stats 45 to 220, so Chaos can't be too insane, but, you know, could have up to double health. Meaning 4,000 doubled from the original 2,000, and that will take a while to cut through, even with Mass Moon.
Yeah, because we have no way of buffing, no hate, no fast, no temper, no saber, none of that.
And here we go. Artea's going to lay down a pile of Fog 2s to amp up the Absorb, which is going to protect against physical attacks. But really, if that's all Chaos has, Chaos is never going to be a concern. What we're really afraid of is all the powerful magic attacks and skills, and that's something that, I suppose.
I mean, Ink's not the worst thing in the world. It's a free turn. All right, continuing on with the Chaos fight here, as you can say, just a plethora of Fog 2s being used here. Definitely helps that the Fog 2 is in the second slot. And we're going to get some anti-rub action happening as well. So that's going to defend against the, spells like Rub.
Yeah, providing protection against Death Element. It's going to save you from Rub. It's going to save you from Toxic, any of the Death Elemental skills.
Unfortunately, not going to save you from Inferno, as in Chaos going to claim his first kill of the evening, and that is Dana.
Here we go. If we see a chain of these, this could be real trouble.
And we've got more Thunder happening with Chaos. That's the second person we've seen with Thunder. It was slightly more devastating on Carry. So we've only seen 3 skills so far from Chaos. We haven't seen any spells at all. And we have seen a physical attack, and with all that Fog 2 happening, Chaos doing physical attacks is exactly what Artea wants to see. It's literally a tickle.
Yeah, the most humid place in the world right now is the bottom floor of the Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Yep, Tristal did head into TOFR and did not go ahead and pick up the Mask Moon. They're in the Temple of Fiends locked chest. So we do have that going, but we do have 2 of our runners in the Temple of Fiends Revisited at the same time. So if Chaos decides to get Chaosy, then we do have ourselves a race. And we do have Warmech Bridge happening over on Maya's side, but unfortunately no Warmechs, just some entrancing slimes.
Ha ha ha!
Wow, that was the theme tonight. Paper thin bosses, everyone going down super easily.
And that will put a cap on it. Artea is our winner this evening with a official SRL time at
1 hour, 49 minutes, and 10 seconds.
Thank you. My DNS has been down this entire race. Unfortunately, it hasn't mattered because my single stream to this race has stood up. GG Artea, we'll bring him in for a little post-race chit-chat while we follow Tristal and Maya, who are still finishing up.
Yep, heading down the rabbit hole of killing Tiamat and killing the 4 Fiends Revisited.
Check out those Artea stats. So 42 resets, 4 power-offs. We'll see what happens when we can compare them to the other runners. In particular, what's always interesting is the number of ambushes, the number of times they struck first. So you'll get ambushed more and more the lower level you are because your agility and luck will be lower and so on. So he was only ambushed 10 times, and we'll see how that compares to the other runners later on.
Yeah, that's some of the fun things is getting the stats that you get at the end of all the randomizers. Not just Final Fantasy 1 randomizer, but any randomizer. Some of the fun stats you get, always nice.
Yeah, it was one of the first things I added to FFR. Something that Entroper wanted to do was provide some stat tracking. It's a very popular thing in randomizers to keep track of, because over time, if you build up enough data that you can start to analyze it, you can look at, what am I doing right, what am I doing wrong, and can I take advantage of this to get better in some way? And we're hoping to keep adding more stats to provide that kind of feedback.
I'm waiting for the number of Agamas killed and number of Tyros killed stat.
We were going to put Warmix just for the 1 or the 0 that you're liable to see, but Agamas might be a good one to do too.
But, we have VN happening over on Artea's side, and we are now going to continue with Tiamat potentially dying down on Maya's side. And, we had some zombie dragons go down, or zombie Ds, excuse me, on Tristal's side, and we are making our way towards the first of our bosses here in the Temple of Fiends Revisited, that, of course, being the Phantom.
He's getting a little trigger happy with the fades here. If he was worried about saving those for deeper down, you'd expect to see him cast more harm, less fade against undead, but maybe he just wants to get it over with. Doesn't think he'll need them later.
Yeah, looking like he's thinking about something here. I'm not sure what. Tick-tock, tick-tock. But this right here, I know in the vanilla game, this encounter right here that Maya has, by far, the scariest encounter in the Temple of Fiends Revisited, because gas dragons, well, they have poison. Poison takes no prisoners.
Yeah, and you can get up to 4 of them at once. The only good news is that it's pretty early on in the dungeon.
Yeah, but the problem is you get them, you get zombie Ds, you get frosties, all pretty much right in the same general vicinity. So yeah. Speaking of frost, we've got frost mages. And Tristal opted to head back out and heal. So now Tristal and Maya are neck and neck here. Maya a few steps ahead, going to go ahead and pick up the Phantom fight first. But this is interesting.
Just about on the same fight at just about the same time, too. Tristal will probably take off here. Yeah, he should be right behind him going into the Phantom fight. Oh, pardon me. One more run-in with some gas Ds before that.
And there's the 4 gas Ds we were talking about. And Maya is going to go ahead and take care of the Phantom encounter. Be careful not to step on that spot right in front of the door, because it is a trap tile. You'll get more and more Phantom, and they're not good for grinding experience because, well, 1 gold, 1 XP in the normal game, so even if you're multiplying that, you're still not getting much.
And we're not anyway. So you're not getting much.
Yep, unfortunately, we do have the unrunnable stuff happening here. Frost Giant, Frost Wolf is an unrunnable encounter, so Maya gonna have to burn some fade charges to progress further. And looks like Tristal again having to either reset or exit out, and going to continue on the path down to the Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Maya going for the quick heal. No time for all those individual potions. Tristle just can't get enough of these gas dragons.
Yeah, well, Maya not too far behind with some zombie Ds of his own. So yeah, this is dare I say this Temple of Fiends is dragon? You know you've done something right when the only response is 10 seconds of silence followed by a 2-second sigh. So yeah, we are going to continue on here through Temple of Fiends. I would say that Maya had to be careful here with his fighter being at 42 HP, but we've got 3 white mages. No, we don't.
Yes, we do, but it does mean that he doesn't have to be very careful. Tristle finally gets to that pesky Phantom. The 1 EXP wonder. Should be able to beat him down pretty quickly. The Phantom's scary with tons of death attacks in the vanilla game, but just not a lot of health, so... Oh! Yeah, still manages to one-shot old Fade down there.
Yes, the Phantom, the totally not a beholder.
Well, to avoid copyright, or any trademark violations, they changed the beholder to the eye, and they drew a different sprite for him. And I gotta say, they drew one terrifying sprite. Whoever they assigned that task did a pretty darn good job, because that image haunted my dreams when I was a kid.
Really? That's the image that haunted your dreams?
From this game, it's a scary one. Don't take me literally, man.
I'm not taking you literally, but it's like there are much scarier things from this game.
Yeah, in terms of their actual, power, sure. But these are the freakiest looking one, if you ask me.
You're probably not incorrect, but you know how many times I woke up in a cold sweat because I kept hearing the word cockatrices over and over and over?
Like twice, 3 times?
In one night, yeah. But God, cockatrices are scary, man.
And Tristle hits the unrunnable pack of Frost Giants and Frost Wolves.
And Frost Giants have Poison Touch. But we have Rock Golems and Mud Golems over on Maya's side, and once we get by this final encounter, we will have our first of our 4 Fiend refights. That is going to be, of course, Lich.
Well, Artea walked away with a pretty clean first, but we've got a tight match for second.
Yep, and we're gonna drop some fades down on Lich. Also, drop some Sun. You'd think the Sun Sword would do more damage to Lich, right?
It does. The randomizer adds elemental affinities into weapons. Roughly what they were supposed to do by an inspection of the code, but since that was so small, I believe the bonus was actually augmented ever so slightly.
Fair enough.
But you're right, in the Nintendo game, the Sun Sword does no extra damage to undead, and Flame Sword and Ice Sword do no extra damage to their opposing elements, but the randomizer has fixed this to a small amount. Lich 2 proving to be a bit of a hurdle here for Maya. If he takes out this other white mage, which he just did, Maya's going to have to reset.
Which he just did. And there's that nuclear we were talking about. Apparently Lich had it.
That is ugly. And it's opened up a bit of a door here for Tristle to get ahead of Maya and angle for second place. We'll see if he can stay true for the rest of this dungeon, because we know the Fiends themselves are not too bad. The skills seem to be spread between Lich and Chaos had a few, but over a fairly long battle with Artea, he didn't do too much to be afraid of.
Yeah, no, the big thing, the big advantage Artea had is the mass move.
Yes, neither Maya nor Tristle did pick it up. I see that he's attacking with something else, so is not. It's the Sun Sword, I think you pointed out. So he doesn't have the Mass Moon because he didn't check the chest, and it is so much better than any other weapon that it's more significant than you would seem having the third best sword instead of the best one.
All right, continuing on, we have our next encounter with Lich 1. Let's see if Tristal can fare better than Maya did. And we're going to start with Lit 2, which we saw that from Artea. Artea in the chat. I also had a white mage with high enough HP to not care about nuke.
And Lich 2 proving to be a bit more of a challenge than anyone expected. The least papery of the fights relative to the power of the fighter coming in that we've seen so far. Definitely worse than any of the 4 pre-TOF fiends.
Oh, come on, you could have called them pre-fiends. It would have been fine.
And Tristal gets it done. If you like the Final Fantasy Randomizer, and I hope that you do, there's a lot of it being played these days. In addition to just the League, there's a couple other events coming up. The Final Fantasy Randomizer community with the same administration, Maya and Tsar, and the familiar faces in the Final Fantasy Randomizer scene are hosting a spring tournament. The official announcement about it is going to be on April 20th, with the tournament to begin in May. And in addition to that, I think, Greenleaf, you want to talk a bit about another event that's coming up?
No, I'm good.
All right, forget it. That's it. No other events.
I mean, I can't sit here and talk about the fact that I am on one of the head commentary staff for the Zelda 1 Randomizer tournament, and we are getting to the finals of that. They have not been scheduled yet, but we have our losers bracket finals coming up. That's going to be between Crystal Saber and JSR, and the winner of that is going to go to a best-of-3 match with Fairwolf. As soon as those are scheduled, keep an eye out for that right here on the Speed Gaming family of networks.
Now, if there ever were a political endorsement, it's a great time to thank Speed Gaming for hosting us on Speed Gaming 4 this evening. It's always fun to get the wide audience. It's my pleasure to comment on these races, and I want to thank everyone for joining, as well as our tracker this evening, Melee Wizard, for clicking all the buttons and lighting it up so you can see what's going on, because Lord knows I can't keep up.
Yep, but we do finally have Lich 2 going down on Maya's side, as Tristal is on to Carry 2, and as I say that, down goes Carry 2 as well, so it seems like Lich 2 was going to be the roadblock here.
The Fire 4 is the shortest of them all, so even though Tristal has just defeated Carry, he's not that far ahead. The Water Floor can be a bit of an equalizer with a lot of unrunnables, like this one here, the Pack of Waters.
The only good part about the Pack of Waters is that they are weak to ice as opposed to electricity, which means that Blackshirt's going to be putting in some work here. And here we go. It is time for the carry fight over on Maya's side of things. Let's see how this goes. If it goes as easy as Tristal did, like I said, it should, because this carry didn't seem to have anything all too scary.
Not too scary carry. That's what we like to call her.
No, I'm pretty sure you just made that up right now.
No, it's an ancient name. I believe there's hieroglyphics that point to it, scrawled all over various long, dusty, something catacombs. Fine, I made it up.
I was going to go with your long, dusty catacombs thing, too.
Crystal takes one last fight, just a couple tiles ahead of the boss of the water floor, Kraken 2. There's not much of an air floor after this, so Kraken 2, Tiamat 2, and Chaos are all pretty much bang, bang, bang at the end here.
Yeah, but again, that can be a pretty big bang, bang, bang if they decide they want to break out the big Zukas. Like level 1, unfortunately getting big Zuka there by Kraken.
I got a feeling level 1 wasn't long for this world from the moment she was brought back.
And apparently neither was Fade.
Oh man. Kraken 2 doing what Kraken 2 does. Oh, that's not what you want to see.
No, that's just awful.
Oh, say goodnight to sweet hug of hasty Kraken 2.
18 hits. Oh my word.
Oh. Oh.
Yep.
Oh,
And,
no.
Tristel hitting the .forfeit button over in IRC with the comment of, I hate this stage.
That's what a way to go. At least it probably didn't hurt, except for that fighter who was like hit 18 times and then hung on with like 40 health, because you know that means you felt it because you survived it, only for that to happen again. So that's ugly. It's a sad way to lose, and it looks like it opens the door for Maya to take second if he can finish.
Yeah, this 18 hit Kraken.
Twice. It was 36 hits after with a little break in between.
Yeah, that break you heard was the fighter's bones.
Yeah. I set him up, you knock him down.
Yeah, well, that was kind of easy.
Looks like you can't say no to Kraken the second time. And here comes Maya, the next contestant.
Next contestant on Price is Right.
Without a word, he slashed him through the heart.
Welcome to Final Fantasy I Randomizer, the ASMR edition. That's Nitz, I'm TGE, and apparently we will be your hosts today.
Well, Maya gets Fade happy and gets past Kraken without receiving any wallops of 18 hits.
Yep, and oh my gosh, I didn't realize this till right now. Take a look at the fighter's HP on Maya's side.
I thought he was a beast.
Yeah, he's definitely a beast, but let's see if the power of the dark can overcome the power of the dragon, as we've got Tiamat 2 happening.
Well, Halp is already out of Fade charges. We'll see.
I'm pretty sure
like
all of them are out of Fade charges.
Yeah, I think so too. So that doesn't really bode well for the Chaos battle.
We're going to pile on the fogs here on Tiamat and continue to, pray that Boop can boop some snoots.
And doot. What the heck?
I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I said that.
Little Cure 4. One of the only battle-tested cures that you can always count on because it heals your full health. Even Cure 3, which is one tier below it, is, you're lucky if you get over 100, 150 out of it. So
Yeah, well, in the vanilla game, there's also the heal 2, heal 3 glitch.
That's a nice glitch because it allows heal 2 to be as effective as heal 3 with 48 effectiveness. That means max you can get is double that, though. So you see just how ineffective those spells are compared to Cure 4, which can cure you hundreds, of course. You're up to your full health. It also cures stun and poison.
Which we've got 2 of our people stunned right now because apparently Tiamat getting Tiamat. Wow, what happened to me? Tiamat getting a little too close for comfort.
And has lots of absorb, so Boop's only booping them for double-digit damage, which means this is going to take a while.
Well, I hope you got comfortable, everybody. Put your feet up, relax, pop open your favorite beverage, whether it be adult or non-adult, and relax, because we're here for the long haul.
We're not going anywhere until Maya goes somewhere. We're in with him until it's over.
Zat VR, Zat VR.
I'm an excellent pistol marksman. I could shoot you from Stuttgart and the effect would be the same.
And now I've got you talking in random accents. I love it.
We've been all over the place on the references. Does anybody get that one? I don't even know if I said it correctly. I haven't seen that movie in forever. Oh, there's Tornado. That's not good news.
Nope.
Just too late on that Cure 4. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
There we go. Boop like does 100.
Seeing things like Ice 2, though, it's exactly what Maya wants to see. Because, with all the, it's a bit of damage comparatively speaking. Lit 2, Ice 2, Maya's happy to see things like this as opposed to, like Tornado.
He might see another Tornado depending on how much legroom we've got in this script here for Tiamat 2.
Oh, never mind.
What he doesn't like seeing
is Bane. And that's, I think, Bane threw a ribbon.
Oh, that's not good news. Any more charges of Fade?
Nope.
Do we have an offensive weapon? Oh, no. Well,
as long as Tiamat keeps casting Quadruple X, we're fine, because Mercy's over 300 HP.
And she's got a ribbon, so it should definitely auto-miss. If Mercy does have a ribbon or a pro ring.
Well, I'm guessing so far because Stop hasn't been hitting. I'm thinking Mercy has a ribbon?
This is some desperate stuff here from Maya.
Yep, and now Mercy's underneath that 300 HP threshold.
The resist should make XXXX not work. It will never hit someone with resist. It doesn't even roll, I don't think. The greater problem is these physical attacks are actually going to get to you eventually, or if he ever gets around to tornadoing again.
And Tiamat just, giving Maya the absolute... Oh, there's Nuclear! And there is the final Bane through the ribbon. So Maya also over here in the IRC has also hit the .forfeit button. And I don't blame him in the slightest.
Ooh, that is just painful. Well, there will be no Chaos points handed out in this race whatsoever, as Artea takes first, gets a 0, and no one else is going to finish and receive anything.
Well, we do have the one other runner who is not on camera, so we might still get some points for this.
I don't think Maya's going to want to come in for some post-race chat, though. So if you've stuck along with us this far, it looks like it's a dead end for Crystal and Maya, who both forfeited out of Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Yeah, we're getting the nah.
And that'll do it for this coverage of this Stage 6 race. We thank you for joining us for the Final Fantasy Randomizer League show. If you'd like to find out more about the game, check out our Discord or hit up FinalFantasyRandomizer.com with links to our community and to get you started if you want to give it a try. It's a great casual game and you don't have to race it to enjoy it. Greenleaf, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
I just met you today. I got into this game partly because of that race I saw you commentate along with some of the others in this community, so it's a lot of fun to sort of meet you in person, as it were, and cover this race tonight.
Yeah, not a problem. It's been an absolute blast. So real quick, everybody, before we go, please make sure you give all of our runners a follow. Show them some love and support because you get to see more Final Fantasy 1 randomizer action on all of their streams. I know they do a bunch of other stuff as well. Like I know Maya does Z3. I know Tristal does Final Fantasy 4. All those are randomized. So please make sure you give both of our runners a follow. If you have not done so already, please hammer that follow button for not just this channel, but all 4 of the channels on the Speed Gaming family of networks. And show much love to Fieselbot 9000 behind the scenes for putting all of this together. And of course, you can also show some love to my co-commentator Nitz. Give him a follow if you'd like. If you're really desperate, you can hit the follow button for me, but please, by all means, don't do that.
You got to be way more desperate to follow me than Greenleaf. Greenleaf puts on real content, streams real people, does real things. I'm just here for the Final Fantasy Randomizer, and because it's just too much fun to stop. So that's it for me. Thank you to everybody involved, and we'll see you next time.
And of course, this is the Greenleaf Effect reminding everybody to, of course, keep hailing.
Help control the pet population. Have your pets spayed or neutered.